We're talking about Cobra Kai's second episode, Strike First. Hey everyone, I'm your host Betty. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. So, I recently watched the first movie, and the scene on the beach, all Johnny wanted to do was talk to Allie, and she wasn't having it. I mean, if she would have just talked to him, none of that would have happened. Daniel and Johnny being enemies, none of that would have happened. But I also understand that, for the story, we had to have that confrontation. But watching this show gives you a new perspective on those old movies, because it makes you realize that Johnny wasn't necessarily the bully in those first few scenes anyway. I mean, I'm not saying Johnny did do some horrible things to Daniel, but a lot of it came from, just not being heard out, Allie kept saying, no, I don't want to talk to you, and I don't want to do this. And he was being polite at first, but, she kept on saying she didn't want to talk to him, and so that's what made him throw her radio away, and then that's what got Daniel involved. And really, it wasn't really any of Daniel's business to get involved, I mean, he had just barely met Allie, and, as other than, really having a crush on her and liking her, he didn't need to be involved in what was going on between her and Johnny. But at the same time, I do understand why Daniel stepped in, because, he did throw the radio and he was being mean to Allie. So, he was doing what he thought was the right thing. But again, it goes back to Allie not really wanting to listen to him. So, but anyway, I've gone down a tangent about the old movies, and we're talking about the second episode to Cobra Kai. So the synopsis reads: Daniel sees that the Cobra Kai dojo has been re-established by Johnny Lawrence. Struggling to launch the business, Johnny starts teaching karate to his teenage neighbor, Miguel. Daniel faces his former opponent, and old offenses are quickly reignited. Okay, similar to that last episode, this episode starts out, though, in Daniel's perspective, what he does to start his day out. And I loved the touch that they played, Ain't That a Kick in the Head, from Dean Martin, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, in the episode, it shows him get up out of bed and kiss his wife and make breakfast for his children, and it shows him drive to work and doing the things at the car dealership, and then he's going home, I guess, for the day, and he's stopped at a red light, and he sees the new Cobra Kai dojo, and as soon as he sees that, all of it triggers him. All of his memories from the first movie with Johnny come flooding back. They show Kreese, that scene in the original movie. Daniel and Mr. Miyagi go to the dojo, and then the memory on the beach, and like I said at the beginning of this episode, all of that fight on the beach could have been avoided if Allie would have just talked to Johnny. But anyways, moving on. So inside the dojo, Johnny, he is starting to train Miguel, and they're standing there, and Miguel asks, is he going to get some of the karate pajamas too? And Johnny is like, quiet, you will get them when you earn them, and you will always address me as sensei. And Miguel says, yes, sensei. So Johnny asks Miguel if he's ready to begin his training, and of course, Miguel says, yes, sensei, and so Johnny grabs him and just throws him onto the mat, and Miguel gets up, and he's all coughing and wheezing, and he starts using an inhaler, and Johnny says, your first lesson is to strike first. And Miguel says, you could have given me a warning, and Johnny says, there's no mercy in this dojo. And he starts quoting the same speech that Kreese said in the first movie to Johnny, which is in my trivia, so I'm not going to get into it right here. But anyway, and Miguel, he's, like I said, he's using the inhaler, and Johnny asks him, so what is the problem, Mr. Diaz? And Miguel says that you hit me pretty hard, Sensei, and I have asthma and everything. And then Johnny grabs the inhaler and throws it across the room and it hits the wall. And he's like, we did not allow weakness in this dojo. There will be no peanut allergies or asthma or any of that made up medical conditions. And Miguel says, but those are real medical conditions. But Johnny, he goes on to say that your first lesson is to strike first. And he's like, think of it as going to a party and you see some hot chick and you wouldn't let some other guy talk to her first. You know, you'd go talk to her first. And Miguel is like, but I've never been to a party. And so Johnny tells Miguel that, you know, striking first means being aggressive. And if you're not being aggressive, then you're being not a nice word that I'm not going to repeat. And then... and he says you don't want to be that not nice word. You want to have the male version of that word. And Miguel, anyway, he says that, aren't you being a little gingerizing? And Johnny's like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, well, my guidance counselor said that certain words are a little gingerizing. And Johnny's like, no, you won't listen to your guidance counselor. You'll listen to me. So give me 50 or give me 20 push-ups on your knuckles. And so Miguel drops down to do that. And he can't actually do them on his knuckles. And he's like, don't you have gym class or something? Give me crunches or something. And while Miguel's doing that, a man comes in and he's the health inspector. And he's wanting to know if Johnny has all the permits and all the things and all, you know, he's looking at all the things that, like the exposed wires and everything. And I just want to take a second right here. This is the health inspector that needs to go next door and shut that guy down from at least serving food. Like when I said last week that guy should be shut down, he can still have a convenience store, but he should not be selling food with his bare hands. So this health inspector that is harassing Johnny, which I don't, except for maybe the exposed wires and some stuff, Johnny's dojo is not that bad. But that guy is serving food with his bare hands. Anyways, I know, tangent. But anyway, carrying on. So the health inspector, he serves Johnny with papers that he has to get situated, and he has to get the facility up to code and everything like that. And then he says he's going to come back and check on him in a week or so. And as he's leaving, he looks at the Cobra Kai logo and he says, cool rattlesnake. And Johnny's like, it's a cobra. And he's like, and the guy's like, oh, duh, you know, because it says Cobra K. It's like, dude. No, Cobra Kai. Get it right. Anyway, this guy should actually be fired from his job because he's not doing it right. But anyways, okay. Anyway, so the next scene we go to is Daniel and his family is at the country club. And if y'all can remember right, in the movie, Daniel, he had gone to the country club to go on a date with Allie. And he had run into a waiter there because he had saw... Johnny kissing Allie, and he got the stuff all over him, the spaghetti sauce all over him. So it's funny because how the tables have turned, you know. Johnny was the rich kid, and Daniel was the poor kid from Reseda, and now it's, you know, opposite. Daniel is hanging out at the country club, and Johnny, he lives in Reseda, and he's having to pay money to get his dojo going and all of this. So anyway, at the country club, Daniel, he goes to sit down with his son. And I'm going to start right now. I'm going to start like a list right now of the most annoying characters, and it really doesn't help the story at all going forward. I'm going to start a list of most annoying characters in this show. And this little boy, this little brat boy, is one of those characters that, if he was my child, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't condone, you know, child abuse. And no, I don't condone child abuse at all. And I wouldn't do that to any kid, no matter how much they deserved it. But anyway, no. But this kid, oh my gosh, he does need a spanking, okay? Or he needs to be grounded for the rest of his life. For real. I hate this little kid. I can't. I don't even... But, you know, he's not even I think we see him a total of like 5 or 6 times in this, and we're in